top football clubs build a product that deliver a real value to those top athletes, top coaches, top organizations, and to gain one, like a real innovative, valuable product, two, credibility and brand and partnerships. And from there, to take it to consumers, it's based on Nike and Adidas and all those big brands in sports. What they do, that it's like when Nike develop a shoe for Ronaldo, they don't really develop it for Ronaldo, but they do invest a lot in innovation that Ronaldo will wear it and will want to partnership with Nike. Then they gain all the benefits of working with top level athlete like him. So we follow same strategy from day one. That was the strategy and the vision. And that took time as well to manage to penetrate those top organizations. They have very high standards. They validate the quality of the data. That took time. And then we came with the consumer. In some point parallel to that, we also started this process that you mentioned with FIFA. That took us about 4 years to get FIFA certificates for safety and quality, a process that we also invested significant resources. We're having a long journey. One of the big achievements, it's this FIFA certification that you mentioned. Yeah. And beside it, those big brands that we're working with allow us to have a success in the consumer market while we align our marketing on those big names.
Welcome to the Ageas podcast. Buckle up. This episode is brought to you by Better Weight for Life, transformational weight loss aid, led by U.S. board-certified physicians, providing access to GLP-1 medications like Wegovy and Zepbound that are proven to help you lose weight and keep it off. This episode is brought to you by CardsBiz, a business card too good to give away.
So this is cards. This is what we make in CardsBiz. This is the black Amex of business card, made out of metal, glass polymer, engraved in real gold or silver. And basically you don't give this away. You basically tap somebody's phone and the information is shared. So you make the best impression in every meeting.
Hello, Yuval.
Hello, Chagai.
It's great. So I have to say you are the first sport-related business we had on this podcast.
Yeah, there are not many... in general, especially in Israel. So happy to be the first one.
So for people who don't know you and don't know what you do, how about you give us kind of a little background and then we'll jump straight into it.
Okay, cool. So my name is Yuval. I'm co-founder and COO for a company named PlayerMaker. That's what I do in the past 8 years. Besides that, I'm married and father for 3. A bit about PlayerMaker. So I will show how it looks. So this is how our box looks. Inside this box, there is like a carry case, okay? And inside this carry case, there is a charging case that more or less look like an AirPod case. Inside that, there are left and right sensors, okay? And those sensors mounted on a athlete's shoes, footwear, okay? And that's the magic, okay? Those sensors, those are motion sensors with accelerometer and gyroscope, what's called IMU, inertial measurement unit. Same that everyone have on their smartphones, but we develop a algorithm that sits both on the sensors themselves and in the cloud that allow us to track accurately the foot motion. And that's what we do. That's the core technology. And from there, our value proposition, the product itself, designed to provide a feedback and data, performance data for athletes. Yeah, the main focus since we started and currently is it's soccer, global football.
Yeah. Or as the rest of the world calls it football.
Yeah. Yes, but it's a completely multi-sport concept. As long as you wear shoes and you actually doing walking, running type of movements. So we already have motion in basketball and American football and rugby and some others. So we're completely aiming to be a multi-sport solution. A bit about the business.
And I think it's important to say that you are an official FIFA partner. Right. This is so it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I mean, we're going to get to that story, but just want to so people who don't know you, this is like a very fascinating mainstream product nowadays.
Yeah. So our journey is long, and it took time to bring the technology to to the required level of accuracy. It required us to invest a lot. One, there is hardware. Okay, we were required to develop hardware, and then to record a lot of data, a lot of athletes wearing the sensor while we film them with video. And then we had a small army of students that were tagging the video in slow motion while the sensor's data was synced to the video, the same timeline. And they were tagging the details, the events that they were saw on the video. And once we gather enough data, we were able to teach the sensor to detect the events that, or the signals that the sensor track in 1,000 hertz to actual data that people can understand. So it took us, it was a long journey to develop the technology.
And how long specific R&D part?
Around 2 years of R&D. And then our strategy from day one was, let's come to the top organization brands, football clubs. Our top football clubs build a product that deliver a real value to those top athletes, top coaches, top organizations, and to gain one, a real innovative, valuable product. Two, credibility and brand, and partnerships. Okay, and from there to take it to consumers, it's based on the way that Nike and Adidas and all those big brands in sports, what they do, that it's like when Nike develop a shoe for Ronaldo, they don't really develop it for Ronaldo, but they do invest a lot in innovation that Ronaldo will wear it and will want to be part or to partnership with Nike. Then they gain all the benefits of working with top level athlete like him. So we follow same strategy from day one. That was the strategy and the vision. And that took time as well to manage to penetrate to those top organizations. They have very high standards. They validate the quality of the data. So that took time. And then we came with the consumer. In some point parallel to that, we also started this process that you mentioned with FIFA. That took us about 4 years to get FIFA certificates for safety and quality, a process that we also invested significant resources. So we're having a long journey, but but one of the big achievements is it's this FIFA certification that you mentioned, and beside it, all the those big brands that we're working with that allow us now to have a success in the consumer market while we align our marketing on those big names.
Yeah. So there's a lot of them to unpack there with everything you said, but I actually want to maybe go back to the original, in a world where there's AI, LLMs, and cybersecurity, and SaaS and whatnot, you guys decided to develop this, in the sports field. So how did it start? What drew you to both to the space and to the specific solution?
Yeah, so the idea from day one was to bring athletes a real-time corrective feedback. Okay,
what made you think about it? What even made you think about that?
So we were looking on those endless people that ride on bicycles that investing a lot of money in equipment, and of course all of them have this speedometer and then I'm not sure what the name of but that measure the watts, the power that they're investing and different innovative product. And we say, okay, let's bring it to other sports. Okay, let's see how we can bring.
But have you always been interested in football and the space?
Not much. It's was an idea that, by the way, we started with other sports, not based on footwear. Okay, we started with kayaks. While the sensors were same sensor, same idea of motion capture based on it.
On the move of the paddles?
Yeah.
That was
But same type of sensor that measure accelerometer and gyroscope, and it was a great product, but irrelevant market.
The huge kayak market.
Exactly.
I know I'm going to get a hate mail after this, right? It's like,
Yeah,
how
no,
dare you insult kayak?
No, it's when we're looking backward, it definitely was a ridiculous market to invest in, but it's definitely allow us to build the infrastructure of this of the technology and understand it very well and so on. And in some point, joined to the team Dr. Erez Morag, that is he came after 14 years at Nike, Portland, at their headquarters in Portland. He was head of performance lab there, and he came and say that let's take this amazing technology and use it for smart footwear, connected footwear, smart footwear. I There was a debate with which sport we should start first. We picked soccer as with the unique benefits that we not only provide data related to the physical performance, like the movement, also related to the ball interaction. So that's, I think, if I remember right, was the main reason to choose that as the first sport. Not necessarily it was the right decision. I'm just saying that that's a big decision that
was the thinking.
Yeah. There was very good reason why not to do it. For example, to put an external device on a football shoe that the players, they kick with this shoe, they doing glitch, they tackle each other, whatever. Like
it's very intensive. Very intensive.
It's intensive. It's in the mud, in puddles. Like it's all the good reasons why something will break or will not work properly or will fall or whatever. So it was a significant decision, a brave one back then. To put actual sensor on shoe and not an indoor shoe, to put it on like one of the most intense sports. And then we started this long R&D process of collect a lot of data to be able to develop the algorithms back then. Yeah. So
for people who don't play football and don't use your product, like what's the value proposition? So we understand you're gathering a lot of data, but what does the player get?
Yeah, so data in sport, our data, have different type of value propositions. In general, athletes want to be faster, stronger, and not to get injured.
And they're looking on social media.
And not to get injured.
Yeah.
So those are the main three things. We also, again, as I said, we have also the ball interaction data in soccer, that this is like make me a better baller, okay, or to have a better ball control or a better touch. So to improve speed, for example, okay, one, you need to make enough speed actions. Okay, this is the most basic one. You know how many sprints you do, how much high speed distance you covered and stuff like that. Okay, is your actual running profile, your motion, gait profile. That's how it's called. The profile of each and every step. For example, to run faster, like to make it most basic, easy to understand, there are two things that you can, let's call it, improve. One, it's to reduce the ground contact time, the time that the foot is on the ground. And two, to increase your stride length. Okay. You can, let's call it, improve only one of them. Okay. And you will run faster. Okay. We can show you all that data. Okay. We can show you the increase on the those type of actions that you do in improved lower ground contact time or longer stride length. And by that, to make you more aware and to encourage you to run more in that way, to improve your technique, and by that to improve your speed, top speed. Okay. When you accelerate, there are other things. When you do change in directions, there are other things, but this is the idea of improve different speed-related actions, things related to player-ball interaction, ball control. So, for example, to improve your first touch, okay, the time between receive and release, your ability to play with both legs, with left and right, to be more versatile players and stuff like that. So we gather this data. The athlete, the coach can see their performance. They can choose what they want to work on. They can set themselves targets, and by that they can improve their skills.
So just from my understanding, it's like, so let's say I'm a coach, right? I'm a coach, and I give this to a player, or a player bring this to me, and I basically say, hey, you need to, and like the coach sees the person's performance, and then it considers the data, and then says, like what I want you to see is taking more of this specific action in every game, and then go and actually see if that was done.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. And at the end, providing a data layer, okay, with relevant user experience as part of the athlete a routine. We are not generate like we are not training equipment, okay, or we are not.
You're a data source.
Yeah, so we are integrate. Yeah, we are integrated as part of the athlete regular training and game routine. But this layer of data allow them to be more efficient, to improve faster, to understand the weaknesses and strengths. And there is all the side of injury risk reduction.
And how does that work? How does injury works?
The basic common stuff, it's what called load monitoring. Okay, that there are different models around it, but at the end, the idea is that from week to week to increase the load in a controlled way. Okay, if you had a peak now, you need
systematic strain will not be too much.
Yes. Or if it was a significant spike relative to the past week, so now you will need a kind of a rest day or something to reduce the risk of injury. Okay, this is the basic stuff. What we and that's related to a full body performance measurements, like again what is the distance that will cover, how many sprints, and those kind of stuff.
Just for myself, do you give that feedback per se, or it's up to the coach and the player to understand what is the?
Yeah, so we provide a feedback based on a model that we choose to follow, but I can tell you that at least in the professional world, each coach, each
has their own model.
Fitness coach have their own model and beliefs, and they want to get the data and to follow their model with the data. The unique thing critical unique thing that we also provide, it's related to the gait profile that we measure very accurately. So when each individual runs a sprint of 10 meters, 40 meters, he has his gait profile, the profile of each step. For example, flight ratio. What is flight ratio? The time that the foot was in the air relative to the time that the foot was on the ground. And when he runs above a specific speed, okay, he has his own profile related to that. So we learn the profile of each athlete, okay? And now when there is let's call it the beginning of a load injury, okay? We're talking about load injuries, not contact injuries, of course.
Yeah.
There is internal limitation that the athlete is still not aware for this internal pain or limitation. But when you look on the gait profile, you see a discrepancy between what was the profile, the original profile, the profile, and you see asymmetry between left and right. And that allow to get kind of a red flag that there is a risk here, okay?
Yeah. And that's something that's very difficult to be aware of. Even the best coach, right? Even the best player, it's like, that's something that's very difficult to monitor unless you have this kind of technology.
Yes. Yeah. Or did the athlete still not really feel a significant pain or by the way, sometimes they prefer to ignore the pain because
you want to be strong and you want to succeed and you want to push.
And your main concern is that you will lose your I would say your place in the opening squad.
Yeah.
And someone will come and
Replace you. Yeah.
and replace you, and it will be his best game ever, and you will stay on the bench now, just because you felt some pain and you want to rest to reduce the risk of injury. But so that's about that. There is also, maybe it's even easier to understand it when we're talking about return to play, like rehabilitation. So as much as the athlete come closer to his original profile, okay,
Yeah.
he can load more, while the chances that he will injure again during the rehab process is lower. And that's critical. Many athletes injure in this rehab process, or right after they return from injury, because they say that they feel good, but in turn, their gait profile, their motion is still not in the same, like the original motion.
Yeah. So I want to go back a bit. I mean, this is fascinating, but I want to go back to the business and kind of experience. So, you mentioned that this has been quite a journey so far, and the journey continues. But what was the moment you guys felt that, okay, this is working? Like, you were 2 years in R&D, and then you were trying to be recognized. So, like, what was the moment or moments that you remember that said, oh my God, this is work?
Moments. So we started with design partners, first in Israel with Maccabi Tel Aviv, and then first club in the UK were Fulham.
And how did you, how curiously, how did you get the design partners in the UK?
One of the investors knew someone that knew someone, and that way. No significant commitments in the beginning, but they gave us the chance. We were required to be on site.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
Your smile.
No, it was things were improvised back then. For example, the mounting solution. So my wife, she's a textile designer, so she improvised something back then as a solution to mount the sensors to the player shoes, and we were required to be on the field to operate the system, and many technical issues, also accuracy issues with the data that we were required to explain why it things that were that didn't make sense to the coaches, and required to provide explanation with the fear that any given moment they say, okay, it's a nice concept, it's a nice idea, but it's not there yet. So, okay.
I'm sure it was very stressful.
Yeah, but I think that, I don't know, the first commercial contract with a professional club was a significant ton, okay, that someone is willing to pay for it.
And what was the first contract?
I'm trying to remember if with Fulham we moved some point to, if they were the first one that moved to a paid. Maybe it was Whole City that that the head of performance was like really believing in the solution, in the concept, I think that they were the first significant commercial contract that we had. And then you get more, and then you get like top clubs and.
But you're jumping, like, tell us, how did it happen, right? Because I'm sure it wasn't that easy, right?
No, it wasn't easy to. But by the way, back then I relocated with the family to London to establish the business in the UK and in Europe in general. I was traveling a lot. We hired salespeople that open us the doors. Some of them were ex-football players, ex-coaches, to build the network and so on. It was required to invest a lot of effort back then to have to manage to close a demo, and then a trial period, and then the professional clubs, they work on a seasonal cycle. So most of them cannot buy along the year. So they approve the budget toward the end of the season. And then, so a lot of patience, a lot of resources that we require to invest back then, visiting many clubs, building the relations with the coaches. And then, there were players that were stating that no way that they will put something on their shoes, especially not in games, even from how it looks on their shoes, or it will not harm their chance to score a goal. So there were, it also required us to give the coaches or to encourage them to deal with those situations.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, to build like very strong relations with them. But again, once they saw the data, the value was there.
And who appreciated more? Like the coaches, the performance people, the players appreciate it.
It depends the age group of the athletes. Yeah. So on the younger ones, it was more the coaches level. And on the older age groups and seniors, it was more on the sports science, fitness coaches, sports science. So
Can you explain that? Like why did
the difference?
Why the older players appreciated more?
Yeah. So when players are young, they work to develop their ball control technique, and that's a more coach related skills. And when they are 16 and up, so they already have their
They know the tricks. They know the tricks.
Yeah, they know the tricks, and now they want to become faster and stronger and to avoid injuries. And this is more like a performance coach related. That's
but it's like
the difference.
I know, like when did you feel this is working? Like when did you feel that this, like, oh my god, this is a real business? It's not like a signal success. I'm not saying you got lucky, but like
no, in some point you start get inbounds, okay, and the sales cycle become shorter and easier. Okay. And in some point you see that you have like significant amount of European top clubs as customers. But I think it's the inbound that's a big thing.
Do you remember what was the tipping point in terms of the clubs you had on board, but you said that it started moving?
I think it was related a lot to figures that joined the team. For example, Dr. Steve Barrett, that he is we were still like a top performance coach that work in different big organizations as a performance coach, but also understand business very well.
Yeah.
And his reputation in the industry is very well, and he also understands very well his role in the company. And his ability or once he joined, his ability to speak on stage in different conventions and to run webinars and bring significant crowd to listen to what he has to say, or to bring great speakers easily to the webinar and interview them. And yeah, that's what I think made the change when he joined the team. And then, the traditional B2B marketing methods started to work, because those, performance coaches, they see themselves, and not as a criticize, they see themselves as experts. They invested a lot of, they study for many years. They gathered a lot of experience. So they prefer, of course, to communicate and to listen to someone that speak their language and that they appreciate and so on. So yeah, once he joined, it allows us to.
And how did the FIFA partnership happen?
So I think that we built a first relation with someone from FIFA that helped them to push forward a kind of innovation program. Okay. I think that we were the first to join the innovation program, and there together with them, we define what are the criteria that we need to meet to get the required certificates. There are two certificates. One, it's related to security, that there is no risk to use this product. And the second one, it's related to quality, to level of accuracy and relevancy for the sport. So we did lab testing in Scotland, and then to get a report from this lab in Scotland about what happened if someone kicking the PlayerMaker sensor when it's on someone else's shoes, how risky it is, and stuff like that. In parallel to that, we did a significant project with the English Football Association, of the women teams in the UK with our technology for 2 seasons to collect significant amount of data, to collect significant feedback from them, from the players and the coaches. And the last thing was a testing day, FIFA doing once or twice a year to test different tracking systems to understand the level of accuracy. So that was the last phase. And it took almost 4 years to get their approval. It was a long, challenging journey, but significant one that impact us both on the B2B and on the direct-to-consumer business. There is still challenge to bring top players to wear the PlayerMaker sensors in official games. They do use it in training and friendly games during the off season, official games to the upcoming World Cup. There we haven't cracked it yet.
What and what's the challenge? Explain the challenge.
So it's to put something on their shoe for a soccer player external. It's not trivial. They have concerns that it will impact their game. They have how you say this word in English?
Superstition?
Believes that I don't know, it will harm their luck.
The gods of football might be mad.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. So that's those are the reasons. It's a matter of education. It's a matter of building relations with them. We'll get there. But again, not sure that it's that critical for our growth. It definitely can contribute, but it's not necessarily where we should put significant energy and resources.
So let's talk about, we talked about a lot about the B2B part of the business. So let's talk about the B2C. Like, when did you start transitioning to B2C, and how did that progress?
Yeah. As I said, the vision from day one was at the end, the main business of the company will be a consumer, to build ourselves as a consumer company. The plan were to do it, the COVID brought us to do it a year earlier than what we planned. Why? Because once COVID came, all organized sport were on hold. We are out of business. But on the other hand, all those athletes were looking to keep in shape, and their coaches were looking to monitor how they keep in shape remotely. So we quickly came with an improvised solution of remote training or remote monitoring. So again, top athletes were using it when they train in their backyard, or when they run on their treadmill, or wherever in their town, in their neighborhood, whatever, and their coaches were able to monitor them remotely. And then when we saw that it works, we said, okay, it's completely this consumer concept. Let's take it and launch a consumer. So we launched a consumer version. We I think that in the beginning, if I remember right, we plan at least to start and generate growth on the consumer level based on, we call it B2B2C, but at the end to work with soccer organization, youth clubs, okay, like that, to find whatever partnership model with the club owner, management, and that they will promote for us the product to their members. It did allow us to do initial penetration, but limited. It was very hard to scale it. The reason is that those coaches, club management, they have their, I don't know, many challenges and things to take care of and stuff like that. That's one.
Just like the mind space is not there. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Second, they are not, salespeople or marketing people.
Yeah.
Third, they, we try to motivate them in different ways, like that they will get a rev share and those kind of things. So, but it works till a certain level. Then also, like, some of the coaches in those organizations are completely volunteer. It's parents or it's like part-time job that they're doing mainly for fun and stuff like that. So why they need those problems? Why they need to recommend something to parents that the club already charged the parents significant amount of money?
Yeah.
So it worked, but it wasn't scalable enough. We still do this type of activity, but it's not the main growth channel. And the other channels are online marketing, paid media, influencers, this type of activity, retail.
What's retail?
Dick's Sporting Goods, Best Buy, those kind of retail. This is relatively new for us, but it's moving quickly and nicely. Again, especially toward the World Cup in North America, it's significant to be on the retail side in soccer. Important to say that we sell hardware and software and a subscription. It's all subscription based. On one hand, it's more challenging to sell subscription. People don't love to buy subscriptions. On the other hand, of course, it generates recurring revenues, and we have a good retention rate, and that's significant. It's also put you in a position that you must keep investing in your product, in the user experience, in your services. That's the way to look on it, and I think it's also the relation or the trust, and something that need to reflect to the users. Yes, we're going to charge from you money again, but that's what allows us to keep improving the value that we deliver and the experience and innovation and stuff like that. So it's a win-win, and it's not a gadget. It's something that we want you to keep using, and we'll do, and we are investing significant resources that you will keep using it and keep benefit out of it and so on. So yeah, that's when we moved to B2C, and from there we learn a lot along the years. B2C is completely different from B2B.
And by the way, it's interesting. There's very few companies who do both, right? I mean, of course, for you guys, I totally understand how there's a very symbiotic relationship with the B2B and the B2C space, but this is like, there's not a lot of consumer hardware software companies that do both, but usually it's one over the other.
I definitely cannot recommend to do both. It's an endless issue.
And explain the pain to those who do not have the privilege of doing that.
And it's how you prioritize. Okay, you have a technical issue. I'm giving an example. Okay, you have a technical issue that impacts a top Premier League club, a top user. I don't know, a session we call for a sensor, one sensor, because we are on both legs. So a session, it's one sensor data from one activity. Okay. So every 3 sessions, let's say, for this club, they lost one session, one leg. Okay.
They lost the leg. The leg went.
They lost a leg. Data of one leg. Okay. An issue. Okay. Each player worth tens of millions of dollars, and they want to have.
And that's an expensive leg to lose. It's an expensive leg to lose.
On the other hand, you have, I don't know, 10% of the consumers, okay, of the users experiencing a charging issue. Okay, now you need to prioritize the R&D limited resources, okay, to investigate the cause. It's hardware thing, it's software thing, it's combination. If it's a hardware, it's like, hardware technical cycles could take a year easily. So you need to try and, even if it's an hardware issue, to try to fix it via software solutions, workarounds and stuff like that. So that's a basic example. Or when you build a roadmap, okay, now when you want to provide more value for the users, so what is how you prioritize that? I don't know, to build injury prediction models. Okay, that sounds like, wow, you can predict injuries. What is the business that it can generate? And on the other hand, you can build a new feature or come with a consumer product for basketball. Okay, how you prioritize that? And it's a pain. It's a pain for the company. It's a pain for the company customers. They don't aware for the reason for the pain, but at the end they each feature, each technical issue that we need to handle with, it just will take more time. And a lot of time goes to, debating on priorities, because there are people that represent more that side of the business, while there are people that represent the other side of the business. They're both 100% right.
They're both equally legitimate and legitimate concerns and wants.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, which one of your children do you love more?
Yeah, there definitely there are like irrational considerations behind the prioritization. It's not like a clear table that based on I don't know, commercial logic and stuff like that. So it's not healthy to have both, especially for relatively small company. Yeah, I hope that one day we'll be able to almost separate. Okay, in most of the sections of the business, because in both we can generate like an amazing things. They definitely should keep serve each other. But each one need also like independent ownership and resources. So hopefully one day we'll have the required resources to manage it, to manage them almost separately. Yeah, so it's challenging. I do not recommend. I don't think that it's interesting to ask if we could do only one of them. To do only the B2B, so it's a smaller market and the less exciting story and the potential. And there are companies that do only elite level, professional level performance related solutions. They have a clear glass ceiling. While consumer, you can see Aura Ring and Whoop that they are exploring and consumer at the end, it's a bigger dream to chase in that industry. Then could we have a same success in the consumer without having those brands logos and they let's call it enforcing us to be excellent on the level of of the technology and stuff like that. So that's
but in that way, I mean, this is actually a good segue to my next question or statement. It's that, but in a way you are it's not exactly, but you're doing the shoe dog thing, right? Like, the Nike and the Adidas story, right? It's the same challenges, right? And the same challenges is like, it's like, I guess from what I read, I don't know Nike personally, but it's like you have to to get the shoes on the consumer feet, you're getting it to on the athlete's feet, and to get to the athlete's feet, you have to be cutting edge, and freaking amazing, and it kind of fits yourself, and it's damn hard, right?
It's
just damn hard.
It's definitely, that's what we're telling ourselves, that it is a must for the success. I don't know the other way around if we were doing only consumer as an example. The way that you describe it, that's the strategy that we build. This is a story that we tell ourselves and others, and we definitely, proud in the in the level of technology that we bring to the market.
And you did amazing things throughout the year, right? Like I know that like we're talking and we're focusing on the pain and the hardship and maybe all those things, but it's like it is a bit of a David and Goliath kind of story. Like a smaller player with better technology, like making an impact.
Yeah, I think that especially those days with all the Gen AI revolution, at the end, if you hold, let's call it infrastructure, asset, so what are our assets, or infrastructure? First, hardware, hardware in general, it's an infrastructure, it's something that, other people can create same hardware, it just requires significant investment, but no one can generate what we generate, like the data and the user experience, without the hardware. So the hardware, it's a must component, we generate data from zero, from scratch. It's not a data that you can find online. And
you create the infrastructure that even enables
so this is one critical asset. The second critical asset is the data that we collect back then to develop the algorithms. And again, it's not a data that you can find somewhere. You need to generate this data.
You don't scrape the web for it.
So you need to collect this data and then to develop algorithms based on that. By the way, I assume that today to develop the algorithms where it could be probably easier and faster. But again, you must have the data. So this is another significant asset. And from there, it's more like brand assets, our assets that we develop around our partnership and brand and our position in the market. Those things that, the AI revolution cannot impact. It puts us in a position that we don't have a significant competition. And there are good things or negative and positive things when you don't have a significant competition. On the other hand, we do need to educate the market a lot. From scratch.
And it seems this is something you keep having to do, right? Every time you grow to the next level, you need another level of education, level of education.
But on the other hand, it's not that someone can wake up in the morning and decide that he develop that kind of solution, and a few months later he will have it in his hand. It's just not possible. Are clear assets that generate barriers. So that's about the cutting edge technology. It's not necessarily the cutting edge technology, it's the critical assets, infrastructure that very hard to get, that were required significant investment of resources to get, risky decisions, or decisions along the way to take those risks, to invest the resources in that direction. But once you have those assets, you're in a position that it's become more a matter of execution. You are not under a threat.
Is there, you said risky decision? Is there some specific decision you remember particularly?
Yeah, so I described it earlier about going on smart connected footwear, like put sensors on shoes, to pick soccer as their first sport, to invest the resources in develop this solution, to do this B2B and B2C. It's exactly the decisions that generate those assets that that today we can run on those assets and grow on those assets.
So now you look into the future of the coming few years, what do you see? What do you see for PlayerMaker?
So it is very clear that the main business of the company is the consumer. We need or we aiming to grow in the consumer market also by adding additional verticals, additional sports. Okay, there is a debate if we should do a vertical by vertical or a multi-sport solution. Different reasonings behind it. It's not mature yet enough internally that I can share. I cannot yet share where we stand, what is our positioning related to that. Again, it's one of those big decisions that we will be required to take soon. Yeah, but to focus on growth and profitability, okay? Go generate new business in the required ROI and keep improving retention rate, renewal rate. Okay, those are both at the end revenue driven, and in parallel, we decided that it's very important for us to get to profitability, keep growth, and get to profitability. It definitely will limit the level of growth, but we definitely can keep growing while looking for profitability. The B2B need to focus on high quality, let's call it enterprise organizations, and opportunities for partnerships that can lead for a significant business of consumers. We have one as an example with Manchester City or City Football Group, a co-branded product that came from them being users, customers on the B2B side. And then we built very strong relations with them. And at some point, this idea came to life, and both parties invested a lot in and it's a significant business. So that's on the B2B side. If we're looking on the longer term from behind that, then there is the embedded idea. Go with the big brands and have smart
Embedded
footwear. Embedded solution, smart footwear, connected footwear. Again, not necessarily a must for a huge success. Okay. Also in that, although it sounds like I don't know, Mobileye inside BMW or whatever, or Intel inside or whatever. In our world, it's not necessarily best. Again, people do different sports and they can use it with different shoes, and you replace shoes more often than you replace cars or computer. So that's one thing. Another thing, it's more in the world of injury prediction, healthcare, those kind of things that can also generate a significant but very different business. But we're just scratching currently the football market. From there are many other sports. We focus more currently on the consumer level, on youth, on parents that buy it for their kids. There is also adults, a huge market that we are just scratching currently. So there where is our focus currently.
So if you have to look back of all your experiences doing this now for the last few years, what is the biggest insight you take away? Or maybe a different way of saying it, if you had to talk to Yuval that was just starting out, what was really important for you today that you would know back then?
I'm trying to think on the more significant thing, because on the execution, there are many things that we did wrong along the way. Put resources in places that we shouldn't, not build our roadmap enough based on data. One of the critical things that we always say, it's that not me or not Guy, my partner, haven't relocated to the US. Okay. Critical both for the business and for fundraising. At the end, sport in the US, it's completely different story than any other part of the world.
Yeah.
So that's something that it's very clear to us that we did a mistake, that we haven't made this move in some point. Yeah, I think like beside that, it's all more like minor things along the way, not something specific that like
Yeah.
yeah, that's that's a move that could had we believe that could had a huge impact on the
And by the way,
business.
it's a classical debate.
Yeah.
I think a lot of founders have, like, that live outside of the States. Okay, I can tell you personally, in my previous company, I was like, all our clients were big multinationals and the
Mhm.
US, and we kept going like, should we move? Should we not? Should we move? Should we not? And in the end, we were flying one of the partners was flying every month, but it was still, very, very, and again, and I hear this again and again and again. I know
Yeah.
some people managed to do it anyway. Like, and I know some people that like flew over still didn't manage to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's a tough question. It really is.
Yeah. I think that for first timers, that it's clear that their main market is there.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of. It's even not a matter of when. It's now. It's like
Yeah.
do it right away. Yeah, it will impact everything. So if this is the main market,
So, and my other question to you, maybe it's on a personal level, right? So we also talked about this before we went. Like, I call entrepreneurship the art of chewing glass, right? And you described a lot of ups and downs, and maybe not even ups and downs, but like long cycle, long R&D cycle, long selling cycle, certification cycles, like things that, by the way, a lot of tech hardware startups like don't necessarily deal with that long cycles, right? I mean, well, hardware always takes longer than software, right? But still, it's like, but even then the certification and the sales cycle and all that, this is like, I don't know where you stand, but you stand on the upper 50 percentile, right? It's about like, what enabled you to keep at it? Like, where did the drive, motivation, stubbornness, where did that come from? Where does that come from?
I think two things. One, it's kind of a commitment between myself and Guy, my partner. So we're trying that each time the other, only one of us will be in down, that the other one will be able to.
Only one person allowed to be upset. Only one
Yeah,
person.
exactly. So I think that's one thing, and is. It's this combination of the assets that we already have in our hands, okay, and the desire to bring them to have a significant impact. Like we already have such significant assets, we want to take them far as possible. That's
amazing. People that want to find you, reach out to you, talk to you, where can they find you?
I think easiest it's LinkedIn, always to reach out. They can start there. I will not miss that, and from there we'll take it to WhatsApp and so.
Well, I'm personally, Yuval, I'm very, very impressed with what you guys managed to do.
Thank you.
It's like and I don't know, like you said, the assets and the mark you managed to do, and it's something that's really simple both ours. Well, thank you very, very much, and for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you for your time, for the opportunity. Cheers.
It's a wrap. This Ageas podcast episode ends here, but you don't. Now, is it crazy to think that you know somebody who'd love this episode? Share it with them, and they'll love you for it.